Thanks for accepting this request and joining the session. I know this is a need of the hour, and I got many requests from my own circle as well as from people whom I know. This is a kind of a request from many of them to see how can we have some kind of a solution or a self therapies to handle stress or an anxiety, which is very common at this kind of a scenario. So that's when this session is all about. Maybe I will give a little background about me, because for the people who may not know, so I'm a counseling psychologist, and also I'm a Varmam. Varmam is our ancient Siddha pain management, and beyond the pain management, it does many things, but we are focusing on the pain management, and I'm a therapist. I'm also an Ayurveda wellness counselor and therapist, also a pranic healer, and my background is in IT profession more than 25 years. So I've been doing counseling and coaching, and as well as this alternative and traditional therapies to handle both the body and mind. So that's about me. And our team, so it's not I'm doing things on my own. So I have a team of my colleagues who are basically doctors, therapists, yoga practitioners. So we form a team, and then so we are leveraging each other's experience in finding out a suitable solution that can take care of both body and mind wellness. So our centers are called as Life to Live Wellness as well as Agastya Wellness Centers. So both of these are focused to, as I mentioned, to provide solutions both for the body and mind wellness in an integrated approach. So this is our setup, and as I mentioned, we provide counseling primarily for individual, couple, and as well as child counseling, preventive lifestyle, and as well as stress, anxiety management, anger management. In addition, as I mentioned, we also focus on the pain management therapies, leveraging the traditional practices from Siddha, Ayurveda, Varmam. So that's about the background of us. So now I wanted to jump into our subject. Before I start, I want to give a small disclaimer. The reason I wanted to put it across is I know each one of us come from a different background. Whether is a man, woman, doesn't matter, or the profession doesn't matter, age doesn't matter. Okay, because we all carry a different, unique identity for us through our culture, be it our upbringing, education, priorities, and lifestyle, characters, habit. And we also have another concept I mentioned called body constitution. So in our traditional systems, Indian healing system, we tell that every individual has their own unique combination of the 5 elements, Vada, Pitta, we call it as a Tridosha, we call Vada, Pitta, Kapha, right? And the 5 elements, all the 5 Panchabhutas. So everybody is unique. So which means there is no one fit solution for all. Today, when we go through the variety of Google contents or social medias, access to all those information, they're all generalized. But we need to be aware that we are all unique. Each one of us is unique, as I mentioned, and so that each one needs a different aspect or a perspective of handling a problem, whether it is physical or a mental. Second, another important point is everything good is not good for everyone. I think this is very, very important today. With all due respect to the availability of information and access to information, we get a lot of things to know about, good things, but doesn't mean that it will be good for everyone. Simple example, everybody knows ginger is good for digestion, right? But the ginger is not good for certain body types. People who are already having more heat in their body, we call it as pitta, more pitta in the body. If you give ginger, it is like a fire on fire. So he will start firing more, right? So like that, everything good is not good for everybody. So we need to put our piece of validation, or rather I would use the word your wisdom to understand what is the stuff, why this stuff is required, how should we use it, who should use it, when to use. So we need to have our own questions which will make a solution which is right for your conditions, right? So that's the essence I wanted to bring it, whether it is handling a physical symptom, illness or ailments, or even if it is mental scenarios. Any of the scenarios, it's equally important to ask these questions and get yourself clarified. So that's where is my disclaimer. So while I've shared a lot of information and my experience, it's still your duty to put your all questions to get suitable to find whether it is suitable for you to implement, right? So let me move on. Okay, so what can you get from this session? So we're going to spend next 1 hour plus time. What are you going to gain? So I'm going to give a little brief about what is the health means. I think we will have a different terminologies about health, but I'm going to give a different perspective of what is health. And also equally important to understand what is stress. Okay, because that's the topic. And until as you understand stress, the solution is it's easy to find what is the right solution, right? So we're going to look at what are the kind of a quick first aids we should consider when we have a stressful scenarios, and what are the long-term stress managements, and as well as the long-term what do you call routines or lifestyles or habits to make our happiness continue. So that's the objective we're going to drive. So now let me come to the topic of why we are here. Okay, obviously the key topic is health. Health is important. I think with this last 1.5 year, everybody has realized the importance of health. I think just barring the negative side of what's happening, but equally what is a good thing to know about is uh, at least 90% to 95% of the people are recovering, which is really good. I know we're talking about the negative side of the stories. We keep hearing a lot about negative side of the story, but the good side of the story is like, there are more than 95% of the people are recovering, which means the health is playing a very key role. People are following certain things, the food habits, or their immunity is good, better. So we need to appreciate what is happening on the positive side. So equally, this is also creating a lot of stress and tension among many of us to understand where is our health going. We see a lot of trend of health deteriorating and causing us physical problems, mental problems, and etc. etc. And same way, when you wanted to address those problems, like the access to the medical system, expensive, it's all like we know what is happening on the reality, right? Whether it is physical health or a mental health, it is not that affordable in Indian kind of a scenario, right? And second, people are realizing that we can get some help if you face a emotional issue. So all these things are creating a kind of what do you call a mindset in people to look for a disease-free life. I think every one of us wants to live a disease-free life, and also a peaceful mental peace, and importantly, this is triggering us to go for a preventive health solution, which means we want to prevent the things before it happens, right? So which is really good. And in that process, every one of us is exploring some kind of a wellness. In fact, I am an example. I started this journey 10 years back when I went for my insurance renewal. My agent said, no, you are in the pre-diabetic and your insurance will be more. And that's when it triggered, oh man, what is this? What are that I need to look at? So all those journey starts to explore beyond your code. I'm an IT guy, I'm an engineer, but I started exploring these stories, then slowly moved into psychology, Ayurveda, Siddha, Varma, and many stuff, right? So this is a point where everybody starts understanding the health, or rather taking health very seriously. But what is important to understand is the definition of health, and what does this health all means, right? Health is not just being uh, disease free. It's not health. You can be disease free. You feel I'm doing exercise, I'm taking all food on time, everything is fine. But end of the day, with that healthy body and healthy mind, what are you achieving? It means you need to fulfill your desires. You need to So you need to do the, what do you call it? We say everybody has a purpose of being here, right? So are we doing that purpose? Are you achieving that goal? That's what is health is all about. Not just being merely physically and mentally I'm healthy, but I'm just no, living. It doesn't mean you need to have your own purpose. You need to fulfill your desires. You should be helpful for others. You should be first helping yourself first, right? So when I mean health, it is not just be mere physical health. It is all physical, mental, and as well as your spiritual health. And with all that health, you start achieving your objectives, achieving your dreams, achieving your desires. That is what is health. Let's also understand how our health is getting disturbed. I think that is equally important to understand. There may be different theories, but I'm just showing what I understood from my experience as a cause of health. If you look at, we have 24 hours in a day. And if you split, it's like an 8 hours. Okay. So the first 8 hours we spent for our professional time, whether you're an office goer or a student or anybody, like everybody has some certain professional work, right? So that's the time we spend for doing your job, studying, interacting with people and etc. and earn money, earn your education, get your degree, whatever it is, right? That's the time you have to allocate, that we are allocating. Another 8 hours is the time for us to spend with it's a personal time. That's the time you spend with your family, spend for your education or your health or what else, like anything, any relationship building or anything to do with your personal networking with people, your passion, all those things will come under the remaining 8 hours. And the last 8 hours is meant for rest and sleep. It's not that I'm saying 8 hours you need to sleep. You need to equally give importance to your rest, to rest your body, rest your mind, and 8 hours. This is what is called as an ideal uh, calendar or a timetable. Like in the school children's, you have a timetable, right? This is a timetable which is required for a healthy body and mind. But unfortunately, what happens, we all know, right? We get, we mess up our professional time. And in that process, we go and steal some time from your personal life. And because personal time is lost, you go and borrow that time from your sleep. So the percentage the time hours would differ from people to people. In some scenario, people may be lazy enough and they'll be spending more time on the personal and they may not be able to match the professional time. But end of the day, everybody will keep borrowing the time from your sleep. You will disturb your sleep or you disturb your the rest time. And this is what causes your physical health. So we all know, I think everybody knows some science background. Everybody, every every human body needs a proper sleep to regenerate, to repair, to recreate. All the cells, all the things gets repaired only when you have a proper sleep. And today the sleep is the most uh, disturbed, or rather the most common cause for a lot of problems. While other things are there, your food and lifestyle and all is there, but I'm saying majorly this is causing your physical health. And obviously when you start messing up your between your personal time and your professional time, it's going to create the mental health problem, whether it is stress, tension, or anything it can be, right? So obviously all this leads into the problems what we see in our modern day life, that is stress, time management, conflict management, relationship issues, and obviously lifestyle problems, right? So if you really understand where the problem starts, is purely in a way we allocate our time, or rather our time management. It is basically, it comes back to the time management. But again, you cannot be, you're not a school children to maintain a timetable and follow things, right? Your mind will start moving between personal, professional, social, politics, and everywhere. And in that process, finally, we start messing up this 24 hours, right? Second, it's important to understand what is the what is stress. Stress may be different terms, but I'm just using my way of understanding stress. Okay, stress, obviously, everybody knows it is nothing but when something is not working in your favor, or the things are not working in the way you want, we call it as a stress, correct? So it could be like this, a scenario. where something did not work for you, like exams failures, relationship failure, business lost, or something could have been done better but you didn't do right. So all those things is one scenario. Second is something not working, right? Your timeline, project, deadlines, commitments, anything which is currently happening. Or another scenario is where you may think it will not work, futuristic, right? You had to go for interview, but obviously you feel what happens if I don't get this job? Or you invested money in somewhere, but you start hearing some news and then you all started worrying. Or relationship, some small problem happens, now you think what happened to this relationship? And if you really see all these problems, it is kind of past, present, and future, right? So your all your worries, stress is common word, but they are again grouped into three categories. Something you think about the past, which you cannot recreate, even a single minute you cannot recollect back or pull it back. But still you keep talking about, I could have done this, I could have bought this, he should have not spoken like this, why this is happening to me. All those things are past. You keep talking or overthinking, then it creates one type of problem that is called as, sorry, that's called as depression. So when you overthink about the past, so you feel depressed and it creates a worry in your mind. Or if you think too much about the present, your goals, your commitments, I should do this, this is the last day, I should complete it, deadlines, then automatically you get into actual stress and the tension. And third scenario is all about the future. I don't know what will happen. Futuristic, right? No, you don't know what will happen. So you keep on thinking, worrying. Like example, today, the corona is one kind of scenario. It's futuristic. We are uncertain about future. Like what will happen? Will the lockdown be opened in 2 weeks, 3 weeks down the line? What will happen to my job? What will happen to this? All those things are futuristic thinking, which means you are overthinking about something which is going to happen. Right? But you're putting a lot of fear on it, right? So that's automatically creates anxiety and fear. So this is what generalized as stress, but they again divide into three category. And mostly all this has end of the day affects your emotional mind. So it's important. So it's also important to understand how this thoughts also gets created, because we are all thinking about the thoughts, because end of the day, when you see in the previous example, everything starts with a thought. Okay, so who creates your thoughts? Who creates your thoughts? It's your five senses, right? The way you see things, way you hear, way you talk, or rather way you listen, way you smell, and way you touch, right? These five senses along with your mind, they creates thought. Okay, and the way your mind interprets, it becomes either a pleasurable moment or it becomes a painful moment. So the deciding the pain or pleasure is not in the five senses. The sense is just like a motor organ. It just passes on information back to your mind. The mind is the one which does a lot of analogy. It applies a lot of logic, a lot of analysis, everything. And finally it says, oh, this is good for me. This is bad. I'm feeling bad. I'm feeling good, right? Say example, like, you put a fan on a high speed. One of your family member will say, wow, I'm feeling relaxed. And another person will say, I am feeling cold. I'll get cold. Fan is a fan. Your sense is the sense, but the way the mind starts picking up the no the feeling of air and interpreting, saying, no, it is, I'm feeling cold, and another person feels I'm feeling happy. So that's the role of your. So I have a small request. If people on the call, maybe you can put yourself on mute. Yeah, I keep hearing some voice, please.
Basically,
Yeah, you can put yourself on mute. Okay. Okay. So now we also need to understand how this thought works, because we know how the thoughts gets created, but the very essence or the root cause of all our problem is how this thought works and how it turns into a pain or a pleasure, because that's where the entire thing is around, right? So we always get some kind of a trigger or a events which is the root cause for any thought. Like example, say example, you see suddenly a flag on the road, right? Each one can interpret it differently. Somebody can say, oh, it's like a red color flag. Maybe this is some political party's flag. Or somebody may think, yeah, red color, maybe this is maybe a school function happening. Or somebody will say, oh, red means blood. So his mind immediately thinks red to a blood, right? So we always relate a small event or an incident into some kind of a thoughts. I think I just sorry. I think one of you are on. Please unmute yourself. I keep hearing a lot of background noise. Okay, I've done it. Okay, so
one second.
Yeah.
You pin yourself your video. You're not pinned it because we could see all other videos. Sometimes can you pin your video? There is an option called pin your video.
Okay, sir, 1 minute.
Please, if you don't mind.
It says I removed my pin and is it okay? Is it pin now?
Yes, I think so. And the second, you can mute anyone being an admin.
Yeah, I just muted it. Okay,
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, so just coming back to how the thoughts creates, right? So any small event, incident can trigger a thought, right? So this event or incident is visualized or rather sensed by your 5 sense. In a day, we get almost like 65,000 thoughts. Like even the way I'm seeing my laptop, I get 5 to 6 thoughts going in my mind, right? So that's how these sense organs generates the thoughts in your mind, right? But the mind doesn't take all the thoughts and start processing. It takes only very few thoughts and gets into the mind. And with that thought, the mind also starts making some feelings, associate some feeling, right? The feeling could be a happy moment, joy. Like example, you see your old friend's photo. Automatically, your mind will start recollecting that memory. Oh, this friend, we were celebrating this, etc., etc. Or suddenly you see some bad news, or rather some news about anything. You start relating it. So the mind will start create a feeling. Whenever the feeling happens, it creates an associated action. It could be anger, frustration, loneliness, rejection, anything. Like, some people even get into the physical activity like drinking, smoking, shouting, all those things, because your feeling will create certain actions into the physical body. And finally, based on that, you take it as a pain or a pleasure. The good and bad part is, again, this thought, this pain and pleasure will create another thought, another feeling, another reaction, another action. So this is like a vicious circle. It keeps rotating, and finally that's where you see, right? That's why it's called overthinking. You start thinking about a small topic and suddenly you get a feeling and you start again exaggerating. Then you start remembering another incident, again another trigger, another thing. So that's when, like, a 5 minutes thought will get into 1 hour of your time, and finally you get stressed out and you start doing some action. But who is the person doing all this, the filtering? Because that is the essence, right? It's not all the 65,000 is a problem. Some thoughts goes in and creates all this thing, right? So we have a system in our brain called RAS. We call it the reticular activation system. It's like a funnel. It filters all the thoughts into a very small, narrow tunnel. It applies certain logic. That logics are your beliefs, your experience, your opinions, your judgments. These are some of the filters it applies to pass on those thoughts to your processing. Where that's when you start getting some feeling, happy feeling or sad feeling and all those things. So the essence, it's good and bad, right? Because we are a human being, so we always apply our logical thinking to bring our experience and etc. But overdoing, or rather over processing, this gets into the thought becoming too much negative. Then you get into pain. Happiness, nobody is going to complain. The more you become happy, you're going to be enjoying it. So we're not talking about the happy side, but we are more getting into the painful side. Equally, it is important to understand how our brain function. I'm not getting into the physical brain functioning, but it is more of a logical brain division. We call Triunion brain. By our existence from the millions of years, the brain also carries a lot of DNAs into day-to-day life, right? So we have something called as a survival state. So this is a state of the brain where it functions at a very bare minimum survival. It's like an animal brain. We call it as an animal brain or a reptilian brain, which is basically it needs to survive. It has to do anything to live. It has to survive. It means it has to ensure you get food, you breathe, or certain uh, autonomous functions. Body does breathing, hunger, and so it does automatic. You don't need to go and say, give me hunger. No, it will start on its own, right? These are your, we call it as a survival state, and it is very reactive. When this state starts up, it doesn't bother about your logical thinking, anything else. It doesn't get into that state at all. Then you have the next level. It is an emotional state of the brain, which is all about all your emotions comes into picture, your social connection, attachment, habits, all those things comes into the emotional state. Then you have the premium level. You call it the premium level or executive state. That's where all your thoughts, imagination, creativity, reasoning, all problem solving, everything which is typically we call it the logical brain, right? When you are in peaceful situation, you can do all those analysis, logic, what is good, this is bad, all those things. So that is called as an executive state or a premium state. Why I'm bringing up this topic is whenever we are into a stressful scenario or we get into stress, unfortunately, we go into the survival state, which means your animal brain starts functioning. And we'll know why it is, because it feels we need to survive, we need to live. So in that state, it doesn't bother about any the logical part of it. Just it works at that ground level. And in this process, it is equally important to understand the nervous system, how it functions. I'm not going in detail, very quick brief. We have two type of nervous system, right? One is sympathetic and parasympathetic. Sympathetic is the one which reacts when you get into the survival state, which is basically the animal state, which means it is a survival actions. Your bones or rather your muscles gets tightened. It pulls the energy from all the other organs, gives to your um, hands and legs to run or fight. We call it as a fight and flight kind of scenarios, right? It is more of a survival stuff. Whereas your parasympathetic is the calming nervous system, wherein it allows the body to relax, breathe peacefully, and your digestion happens. A lot of the normal day-to-day life, you want a calm and peaceful thing, that happens only when the parasympathetic nervous system is active. Similarly, you also have one more, vagus nerves. Okay, so you all know that brain is a key, the master of all the things. The brain always instructs certain times. When you are in survival mode, the brain is only functioning to survival. It's just throwing actions, respond, fight or run, freeze, all this stuff. But equally, you need to know the feedback going to the brain, what is happening to your organs, functions, etc. So the vagus nerve's responsibility is to send upward communication, bottoms up communication to the brain to say that I am suffering, I need something, I'm short of this. All those communication needs to go to the brain. Then the brain will start understanding, okay, am I really in the trouble, or it is only a illusion, or it is just a fear. So those kind of information, if it needs, then it needs to activate the vagus nerves. Okay, so just I'm giving the view to get some idea of what a stress is creating inside your body. And as I said, like when you're in a sympathetic activation mode, when a trigger happens, the body is like an accelerator mode. It's like a speeding, racing car. You cannot stop it. It just runs. It doesn't consume it. There you don't look at mileage, right? It consumes whatever petrol available, it starts speeding. And in that process, rest of your other functions suffers. Like, your immunity stops. Because when you're in stress condition, your autoimmunity stops. Similar, your we call the adrenal or cortisol. These are the like fight and flight hormones. They start pumping in, and when they start pumping in, they borrow the energy meant for all other organs. So that is when you see dizziness or digestion stopping, suddenly your heartbeat raising, or breathing problem, any, because it stops, brain stops, like it doesn't even send the energy to the brain. So the brain will start, headache starts coming up, right? So when the sympathetic nervous system is active, it is like you are in the accelerator mode. You are in the emotionally weak, what do you call it, weak emotion, and you don't have any logical brain working. It's only the survival brain is working. Whereas when you're in the parasympathetic nervous system active mode, which is basically a calming mode, you may get stress, but you can come down, you can bring down the stress. It will not stay back. So because when this signals goes and tell the brain that it is not a serious problem, it is not a do or die situation, it is not a flight and flight scenario. So don't send out all those hormones. So you have a very good, because the vagus nerve starts working. So this mode, we call it as a deaccelerator mode, where you have all rest and relaxation happens and your body is normal running. And this is a scenario where you get your happiness hormones getting into the body, right? So just to understand these concepts, parasympathetic is good for us. Sympathetic, the triggers are not good for us. That's a simple logic we need to understand. And what happens when you get stress? As I said, like stress is an emotion, but it directly affects the physical body. So it means because the brain doesn't get energy. See, if you have a stress once in a while in a week, once or twice in a week, it's fine. It means you go to the peak, you stay there, and you come back, and the body is normal. Think of a scenario: you get fear, you get anxiety, you get stressed, and you're staying in that mode for a long time, which means rest of the organs are not getting the energy which is meant for, right? When they're not getting the right energy. So in that process, they start giving troubles. They start creating problems. They start showing their symptoms at the brain or at a heart level or a skin, like you see, start seeing hair falls, dandruffs, dry skins, rashes. Digestive system is the most affected thing, because moment you get panic, when you get stress, it stops the energy for the digestion. So your digestive food is staying there. It starts creating acidic, right? You get the irritable bowel syndrome, or same way your constipation starts, motion doesn't go out. So all those will become like a spiral. You create more problems. And immunity system is the main thing. Like when you have fear and anxiety, it stops the immunity. And today major reason for the corona issue is also the fear. When you have more fear, your autoimmune system stops, it fails, it doesn't do anything. So it's easy for the virus to spread more. So that is where it is important to control the stress and take care of it, right? So how do we read that we are stressful? I think stress is a very common word. I think now you know it can be differentiated. It depends on the scenario, situation. It differs. So behaviorally, you may notice some changes within you or your family members. If you see their eating pattern changes, eating high, meaning eating. If they're eating more, then their survival mode is high, because they are into that survival mode and they keep eating and they don't care. Sleeping more, sleeping less, or if people start isolating from others, it means they're carrying something in their mind and they don't want to disclose, or neglecting responsibility, or using alcohol, any other drugs, or small stressful activities, like to avoid stress, they start doing something or harming, injuring, or doing something very silly. Or emotionally, you will find like there'll be always moodiness, irritations. No, they will be having a lot of short-tempered agitation, argumenting, and or sometimes they will become very lonely, depressed, jealous, greed. These are some of the other symptoms you will feel emotionally. And physically, as we've seen, any symptom which you saw in the previous slide, or anything happening in the physical body, body pain, nervousness, irritation, lack of appetite, or lack of interest in doing anything, chest pains, suddenly midnight, people wake up and they feel short breath, or sweating. Suddenly you feel sweating. So these are all like, and mainly for ladies, it is PCOS, PMS issues. They're all like, again, as symptoms of stress. So it's important to address this at the root or prevent it from the beginning. Else it can create a lot of disease. I'm not going into that part, right? Now, let's come to the solution. I think I just thought I will set uh, the basics of what is health, what is stress, and stress is a very common word. I think now you should be able to identify the difference of stress and how it impacts, and how it impacts internally in your physical body, right? So when you wanted to solve these problems, we need to address what we identified as the affected area. It means we need to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. So we need to have a solution. Those solutions should be able to address and trigger the parasympathetic nervous system. Second, it also needs to activate the vagus, sorry, vagus nerves. Oh, sorry, somebody has come. I'll admit it. Okay. And importantly, you need to relax your body and also relax your mind. And also we need to trigger the happiness hormone, because that is important for your long-term stress-free life. And last but not the least, right, stress is part and parcel of your life. It's not that I can live a stress-free life. I cannot say that I don't want the situation to happen. Corona third wave will happen. I cannot say no to it. It's all we need to know how to handle, cope, manage, and divert when such negative or stressful things happens. We need to know how to handle it and manage it. So when you want to do a stress management, these are the key things which we need to ensure. I'm just pausing here to see if you have any questions. If you have anything, you can please you can put it in a chat, or you can put it in the chat. We can discuss. So you don't need to, because it's being an online virtual session and I cannot open it so that we will not have the flow. So please post your questions in the chat box and I will answer it towards the end of the session. Okay. Now let's get into the solution mode. Okay. Solution, again, I'm trying to say something like a first aid, like because it's important. Like when you're stressed, uh, your mind is not in control. You're not in your logical mind. You're in the animal state, which means your mind is on a survival mode. The things what you may do, even you will not know what you're doing. That's why many a time when people are stressed, they shout, they use abusive words, or they do violent behaviors, and after that they start realizing, no, did I do this? No, I never spoke like this, I never said like this, because they will not have a visibility of what they're doing, because they are in the survival mode. So when you feel your stress, what you need to do is the first aid, like the way we do normal first aid, like putting a band-aid or putting a Dettol and etc., right? So in a mental state also, when you feel stressed, emotionally stressed, there are certain first aids you can apply. Okay. In what scenarios you can apply those first aids? One, maybe if you feel anxious or very anxiety is high, feel shivering, nervous, and you're in a panic attack in the midnight, you start feeling short breath, or you're feeling shivering, that's one kind of, or you're thinking, you're overthinking, are you having overwhelming negative thoughts and you're not able to stop, you're saying stop it, I want to stop it, I want to stop it. It's not stopping, because if you leave it, it's obviously going to create more sympathetic nervous system activation. So you want to stop those thoughts. Or you're having uncontrolled anger, like you're not able to stop, you know that you're going to hit somebody, you don't want to do it, you wanted to control it. Or you're feeling little uneasiness, or feeling some pressure, or you want to rush something, and you know that if you rush, you're going to fail, but you're going and rushing, you're rushing on those stuff. Or you feel mood is not good, or certain times you feel that physical symptoms like vomiting sensation, or little headache, or chest feeling the pain, or sometimes sleep disturbed and etc. These are the scenarios I would call it as a first aid scenarios. In this kind of scenarios, you can start applying some of the first aid techniques, what I'm going to share. Okay, so let's look at the first technique. I call it as a 5 minutes diaphragm breathing. Because I think you may be feeling breathing, everybody knows. I also heard in internet, I also know every doctor suggests breathing, breathing, breathing. I think we need to understand why breathing is so important for us. I know breathing is important for us to survive, but when it comes to any emotional treatments. Why is that every doctor, psychiatrist, and everybody talks about do some breathing? You need to understand the reason. In a day, we breathe approximately around 26,000 breath in a day, which translates to approximately 15 breath per minute, normal time. So if I'm speaking, you know how much breath I will be using? I'll be doing 30 breath per minute. This means I am breathing more. Okay. If I am running, jogging, it'll be around 40 to 50 breath. If I'm in anger and I'm shouting, it is more than 60 breath per minute. If I am meditating, if I'm sitting and meditating, it is only 5 breath per minute or 6 breath per minute. When I'm watching movie, when I'm happily enjoying with my family and extra, it is average 15 breath. When you're sleeping, it will be little low. In average 5 to 6 breath, but it'll be very calm. Now you understand why I'm saying this, right? More you do a breath, you are actually affecting the health. Logically, it is simple. More the time you hold your air in your lung, a lot of gas exchange happens, oxygenation happens, body is healthy. But if you do 30 breath per minute or 60 breath per minute, do you think that lung is able to hold anything inside and the body is able to absorb anything? Absolutely not. So that is the reason you need to have a calm and quiet environment. Peace, we call peace in the sense where you're doing a 15 breath per minute or 10 breath, 5 minute, 5 breath, whatever it is, right? So that's where the breath becomes very, very important to bring down stress. That's why everybody prescribes do some breathing exercise, do some breathing exercise. Here I'm talking about an exercise wherein, when I said, right, when you're stressed, your body generates a lot of energy to do the fight and flight, which means it generates a lot of heat. And because to let the heat out, you start doing shouting, you start crying, or you're showing violent activities, right? That's when people start doing all those things. Instead of doing all those things, we can do a very simple technique to let that heat go out. And automatically your vagus nerve will get activate and tell the body that he is calm and quiet. Your parasympathetic nervous system will start activating, tell your brain that he's getting normal. So to do that, it's simple. You can sit comfortably wherever you are. If you are in a chair, just lean forward, little lean forward, so that when you lean forward, your stomach will press the diaphragm, so that your diaphragm will get a little pressure and it will start pushing up and down. Okay, when you do a inhale and exhale, what you need to do is very simple. You're going to inhale through the nose and your exhale through the mouth. It's like this. So your exhale is like a blowing a candle. So it's your exhale. You will be doing a long, I mean, you cannot do a long inhale, as much as possible. Exhale as much as possible, like blowing a candle. And you do this for 2 to 3 minutes, you yourself will feel the difference because you're getting the heat out. Second, you're breathing with your diaphragm moving up and down heavily. So which is creating a lot of signals for your vagus nerves to go and communicate to the brain saying what is the actual scenario, what is the actual status. That's one. Second, you're getting the heat out of the body. You're letting the heat go out of the body. Automatically, you'll feel relaxed. In fact, you'll feel little low in energy, but that will help you to bring down your stress. So this is a very, very important and very simple 5 minutes to 3 to 5 minutes breathing exercise. Anybody can practice, anywhere you can practice, n number of time you can practice. But the situation is whenever you feel anxious or stressed, overthinking, you can follow this. This is one simple technique. Second technique, as we said, all our thoughts gets generated because of your 5 sense organs. Okay, the 5 sense organ is what is generating the thoughts. Okay, whether positive, negative, whatever it is, good, bad, all those thoughts. So when you're stressed, it doesn't function properly. Even if you see something, like many a time, right, We know the key is lying is on the table, but we keep searching because your mind is already, judgment is already there. It is not there in the tables. You, my say example, my I will tell my daughter, you only kept it somewhere. So I am already in the blaming mode. So when I'm in the blaming mode, even my eye can watch that key is on the table, but still it will not send the signal back to my brain because it is already having a blue screen judgment. So in those scenarios, your sense organs are not working. So when you're stressed, your sense organs doesn't work function normal. So how to activate and re-energize your sense organ? Very simple technique. This is a technique we use through Varmam. So if you see the temple region, what I'm showing in the picture, we call as a Panja Narambu Adangal. Panja means 5, Narambu means nerve, and Adangal is something like a reservoir, right? So all your 5 sense organs, nerves comes and terminate. In the medical term, it is nerve. In our Varmam term, we call it as an energy. They're all like subtle energy. They come and terminate. So how to activate this? It's a very simple technique. It's like, you go and take a cold water, splash it, right? When you splash on the face, first you always get refreshed, you feel little cool down, right? Then you can use your this 4 fingers from the forehead, bring it to the temple. Just give a little rotation. On the eyes, just on the eyebrow from the midpoint, just with all the 4 fingers, take it, small rotation. Then go below the eyes, give a rotation. Then below the nose, just little press, take it to the temple. Then below your chin, take it. Then you have the last point, just take it there. This you can do while you're doing a face wash itself. You don't need to do it. Just while doing it only, you can do this like this. So this will activate the 5 sense organs or the energy point, which is there in the temple region, as well as activate all the 5 senses. So this is a very simple technique because uh, we talked about your thoughts originates from your sense organ. So you're going to calm down, energize, relax your 5 senses and activate it for a proper sensing, proper receiving. This is a second simple first aid technique. Next, we have certain Varmam points. They're all like energy locations, or we call it as a junctions where a subtle energy helps in certain functions in the body. And primarily in the head alone, we have more than 25 plus energy points. Some of them are very crucial for stress, anxiety, and emotional handling. And these are the, I don't need to worry about the name and etc. I'm just giving a very simple location wise picture. Yeah, so location, so that you can easily identify them and start doing it. So one of the point is on the tip of the head, right? So it is on the tip of the head. So the activation is very simple. All this activation is, you can keep your 3 fingers like this. Just again, I'm just showing it here. You can keep it there. Do a horizontal left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, 10 to 15 times. You can do this using the pressure onto the middle finger, the tip of the point, just doing it. It's very simple to identify. It's a tip. You don't need to be very precise. Don't worry, get into the actual location. All it's a very simple. You can just go to that location, tip, the top of your head. Next is your, we call it as the mid forehead midpoint. In all, generally in all the customs, our Hindu custom, we keep our vibhudis, kumkums, and etc. Right. So this is very simple. You can keep this and do a slow feather touch movement like this. It's like it's actually, we call it as a hypnotizing point, okay, or also a point to calm your mind. So this you can do a gentle feather touch movement like this. You can do 20, 25 times, 30 times. If you do more, you will get sleep. If you notice, right, in the earlier childhood, when the mother, if a baby comes onto the lap, she will always do some kind of a massage around this place and they will start sleeping. So it's a very, very sensitive and very, very good location for your emotional balance. Third, we said, like we already talked while doing the face wash itself, we said we have to do like this. Here you're going to do with the 3 fingers, just a 5 to 10 times movement above, sorry, just below the nose. Next one is you're below the lips, like this. And the last one is this. With your thumb, you can always do a rotation like this. So the points are simple. One is on the tip of the head, 3 fingers horizontal, mid forehead, do a gentle feather touch movement. Then below the nose, below the lip, and below the chin. Don't get into the details. These are all like it again, it will be a big another topic to discuss, but these are the energy location points in many systems. We are talking about Varmam. If somebody knows what is acupressure, acupuncture, every systems talks about with the different names, different thing, because there is always a connection. We have 72,000 nadis across the body, not the physical ones, energy bodies, and they all connect each other. Like example, your ear has all the connection to the organs. Your foot has connection to all the organs. Your palm has connection to all the organs. So that way, the body is closely interconnected. So some place you touch, it takes care of something else. Okay. So these are the location which will give immediate stress, calm, peace, relaxed, and energy to you to take care of your next thing. Now we'll move to the next technique, grounding technique. So whenever you are in fear, your anxiety, the signal what is going from your survival state is I'm in danger. I cannot survive. Life is hard here and I'm struggling here. I cannot, all those negative things goes to the brain, and the brain keep on pumping more the fight and flight hormones to again borrow energy, go and fight. But you do not have any enemy in front of you. You cannot go and fight. All those energies are wasting, but still your mind is feeling I'm unsafe, and I'm not no feeling safe. So that's where we have to do a grounding technique to say your mind saying that I'm safe. I'm in my own place. I'm not in a dangerous place. So for that, we again use the 5 sense therapy. Not all the 5 sense. We use the 3 key sense, which is basically your touch and feel. Touch and feel 3 objects next to you, or 3 objects which is around you. Have touch it and give a feel. Have a feel of it, so that the mind, the sense organs sense to the mind that, oh, it is in your own place, you're not in a dangerous place. Like example, your mug is there, your photo is there, something is there, right? Same way you start see 3 things around you, photos or some objects in front of you, so that you get the sense of comfort that I'm in my own place, I'm in my own desk, right? So that is it. Same way you hear 3 sounds around you, familiar sounds, so which will help you to ensure that you're not in some alien place, you're not in some dangerous place, you are in your own comfort zone, or you're in a place where it is not a danger, it is not it's so serious problem as your mind is visualizing. So you need to ground yourself, right? So the grounding is a very, very important technique to give a first aid. It's like a first aid to say that I don't need to panic. It's not a situation for me to panic because I'm in my safe place. I'm in front of my desk. I'm in front of my house, or I'm in my house. I know my mom is there. My dad is there. So which will give the comfort that you are not in danger. So grounding is very, very important technique. Then a calm meditation technique, because once you cool down, you need to still furthermore calm your mind. When I say meditation, everybody will have a jitter. Like, I can't meditate, and I cannot sit straight. I cannot even 2 minutes. I cannot close my eyes and do something. A lot of thoughts will keep coming in. I don't know what is meditation. So there is a lot of myth and hype about meditation. Here I'm telling you a very, very different meditation technique. It is a little different, and it is not the regular meditation. This is only for a meditate. It's only a meditation when you are stressed and you cannot follow the normals, right? So for this meditation, you need to use a earplug, either a earplug, or suppose if you have your mobile ear Earplugs, that is also good enough. Something should stop hearing outside sound. So you just understand your five sense only is sending all the thoughts. When you close your eyes, 70%, 75% thoughts will not come because you cannot see anything, you cannot visualize something, what is there. When you close your eyes, another 20, 25% shuts down. Your remaining sense organs is not a big contributors. Smell and taste and all is not a big contributor. The major two sense organ which creates a lot of thoughts is your sense of visual and your hearing. So if you shut both of them, then you have minimal thoughts coming in from outside, right? So that's the objective you want to drive. So put the earplug, sit wherever. If you can sit in the floor, nothing like that, or you sit in a chair, put the earplug and start uh, listening to the inner sound. It'll be a beautiful experience. People who have not tried it, like example, you may have a coconut tree at your house. You will see every day this coconut tree. You will not feel any difference. Suddenly you go to a place like Kerala or some place where you have so much of coconut trees. You'll use a word called wow. So many coconut tree, nice coconut tree. Same coconut tree only, but you're feeling different because the environment is different. So same way, when you close your ears, you cannot hear anything outside. The mind will start focusing on the inner sounds. What is your inner sounds? You may hear your breathing sound. You may hear your heartbeat. You may hear your digestion sound. So many inner sounds will come, and the mind will stop focusing on the external one and will start showing more interest to understand what is this sound. It's one way diverting your mind from outside thoughts and bringing back to your inner thoughts. First objective. Second objective, you need to do the meditation, right? You need to calm down your mind. The technique is very simple. Just focus your attention, sit in a chair, spine straight, put the earplugs, relax for a couple of minutes. As I said, just listen to the inner sound for a few minutes. Then start thinking 21, number numeric 21. Visualize 21. Take a breath in and then exhale. Now think 20. Take a breath, inhale, exhale. Like that, you come reverse order. Initially, you may not find big difference. You do it for a couple of times. Later, you find a difference. It will be like this. Initial 21 to 10, you may be doing very fast. But after crossing 10, you'll realize you'll be doing a very slow and calm, relaxed inhale and exhale. Our objective is very simple. Our objective is we wanted to have as much as possible relaxed breathing. Less than 15 breath is what is our objective. Right? That's when your lungs will store more oxygen so that more oxygenation can happen and more energy will go into the blood. That's the objective. So for that, this is a very, very beautiful, simple exercise you can do. So this is like a first aid. Whenever you feel stressed, if you have the earplug, put that, sit there, think 21, go down till 0 and you'll feel relaxed. Calm, just relax for 2-3 minutes and come out. So this is a technique for one of the calm meditation. Next, you need to get into a long-term solutions. I know that this is just you're settling the stage. You are able to little come out of your stress, but you need to do little more on stress management. I know this is a very big topic. It's again a therapies and etc. is happening, but I'm just trying to give it as quick as possible so that I'm not saying that you need to follow everything. See, that's what I said in the beginning. Everything good is not good for everybody. Same way, there is no one fit solution for all. I'm only showing like in a tradition, in our South Indian tradition, when you go for a marriage, they keep 20 to 25 items on the banana leaf, right? It is not necessarily that you need to take all the 25 items because each one's body is different. Your taste is different. You may like something, you may not like something. The hospitality is that I will provide everything. You pick whatever you want. Today, the buffet system is also the same funda. We kept things because each people will like something different. But unfortunately, what we do, we go into the buffet and we take everything, right? So just a word of caution. I'm I'm giving you 5 to 10 therapies and solutions. It doesn't mean that you need to follow everything. Just try what suits you because you need to accept, your body need to accept, your mind need to accept then it works wonderful. Okay. Now let's get into the stress management part. What is that you can adopt as a stress management for a long-term and very sustainable results. One of the thing is very good to do is 8 walking technique, because today with the corona and all those restriction, we, even if you want to be fit and fine, you want to go out and walk, we are not able to do so, right? So there is one small technique which is a very powerful ancient Siddha's technique, and I'm doing it for last 7-8 years and wonderful results. It's simple. You can do it at your home, anywhere. If you have a garden space, you can form an 8 in your garden, terrace, anywhere. If not, simple, put 2 chairs, walk like an 8 in between the chairs. There are some procedures. I can share the link, and I can also share the video link. But the concept is very simple, because you'll be doing a very focused walking. Unlike your jogging or a walking on the streets or a park, where you do only one type of movement, like only your legs will move, hands will move. Whereas when you do the 8 walking, entire body moves. You can observe your shoulder will start moving left and right. Your hip will move left and right. Your neck will move left and right. Your knees, your ankle, everything will move left and right. It gives wonderful energy and exercise to the body. Second, you're not racing against time. Even if you want to walk fast, you cannot, because it's like an 8 shape. So you'll do a very rhythmic walk. It means your breath will be controlled. It'll be controlled in the sense you will be doing a very normal breath. You observe, you go to a park or you go to a gym, or rather a roadside, people when they go walking, first 1 kilometer, they'll be doing normal walking. They'll be breathing through their nose. After some time, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you start they breathing through their mouth. And people doing jogging, sorry to say that, most of the time they'll be breathing through their mouth. Now, please understand the logic of the breathe. When you breathe through the nose, there is a temperature controlled. The body first is always filter, because nose will filter the unwanted stuff. Second, it regulates the temperature. Like the way you have a tonsils, which regulates the food which goes inside your body, there is also a system where it regulates the temperature what goes inside your lungs. Now think of you breathing through the mouth. First, there is no filter. Anything can go inside. Second, it doesn't regulate your temperature. It can affect your health. So better walk through walk. When you're walking, normal walking, please ensure you walk, meaning you breathe through the nose. If you're beyond that, then that's your limit. Doesn't mean that I need to walk 10 kilometers, 5 kilometers in a day. Don't keep those kind of a target. Your body knows what you want. When you start sweating from on the forehead, that's the limit. So that's on the normal walking. But if you're doing this 8 walking, you don't have those tensions, because you cannot walk fast, and you don't need to walk for hours and all. Just 10 minutes, 20 minutes is enough. Clockwise 10 times, anti-clockwise 10 times. That's enough. So it's a very simple technique. It regulates your blood, regulates your heartbeats, regulates the breath, and slowly you'll see a lot of benefits coming out of your body and mind. Stress, very simple technique to stress relief. Okay. Next one, sit-ups. I think South is famous. Every Ganesha temple, we do the sit-up. Okay. But there is a big science behind the sit-ups. Okay. In Varmam, it basically, we call it as, it activates certain Varmam points. We call it as a Poigai column, which is an energy reservoir. That's an energy reservoir which sends energy to the brain. Energy to the brain. Similar, there is another pin behind the ears. That's why in our tradition we wear no, earrings, because there should be always a little pressure, always should be there in that place, so that it activates your the brain coordination. So this is a wonderful energy points where it regulates your eye and ear coordination, and balance the right brain, left brain, and a lot of wonderful energy stuff for your head. But how to activate it regularly? This wonderful sit-up technique. Okay, so it's like you do a, if you're you can put the if you're standing, you can put the right leg forward. Same way, your right hand, you hold the left ears like this. Same way on the left leg forward and hold your left ears like this. And then go down and come back. When you go down, automatically your heel will hit the coccyx bone. It again generates energy back to your brain. So these are all like a very advanced thing, but I'm just simply asking, pull your leg, pull your ears and do a sit up. And especially for children's, that's where in schools they give this as a punishment. It is not a punishment. This is to activate their memory, activate their energy, connect their ears and eyes coordination, and left and right brain coordination. So when you are stressful time, you may not be able to take right decisions. Generally is observed, right? When you're in stress and anxious, you will not be able, because your logical and emotional brain will not function properly. They will always overlap. Either one of them will dominate. You need to balance them. How do you balance this? This is a simple technique. If you're religious, do it along with your prayer. If you're, no problem. You can do it as part of your any day-to-day exercise. So this is another wonderful thing you can follow as a stress management. Next one is again nothing religious or nothing, I think. Different sounds has a different purpose, right? So im sound is in our Varmam. It has a very, very big stories behind it. I'm not going into this, but when you say Om, it is basically splits into three words, A, U, Im. So like A will generate a lot of vibration into your lower abdomen. U will give a lot of vibration around your chest region. And will give a lot of vibration around your face, which is again connected to your brain and other stuff. So we are kind of activating this very simplistic. If you want to put it, it's very simple. It's like humming. When you do a humming, you see a vibration in your head region. So we are activating this, and it is a very, very powerful technique to unblock any energies disturbed, blood flow, nerve flow, anything, any blockages. It could be anything. It all will slowly get unblocked. And importantly, it brings calmness, meditation, and making you to have the energy for the day. That's the first objective. Second objective, I'll just demo it and tell you the benefit. Like example, it is like this. You can, whoever again having the problems of concentration, you can always use the earplug technique. Put the earplug so that you're out of your present. You don't disturb by outside things. You get into this. Then you start sitting in a place of chair or a table, and you start doing this like this. Take a breath, and you can do, take a deep breath. The im will be exhaling as long as possible. If you see the internally, what are the benefit you are getting is, you're storing the air in your lungs for a long time. When you're doing a long exhale, it means that the exhaling is happening very, very, very slow. So in that process, your lung is filled with a lot of air to do the exchange. So you get the energy. That's why this meditation technique gives energy, is because they store the air for a long time so that the oxygenation or exchange of gases takes beautiful in the system, right? So this is a very simple and powerful technique. You can do 21 times. Preferable to do it in the morning is very good. So you can start following it. Okay. Next, another technique is also a very simple technique. You would have noticed in the legacy, history, and tradition, our culture, people wear turbans or caps around their head. If you understand the logic behind, again, there is certain Burmam location. We call it as names. Don't get into the names. These are the points which helps us to take unbiased decisions. Keep yourself calm and quiet even if you are stressed. And like if you notice, most of the kings, right? They have this freedom or this turbans, and because they get a lot of tensions. People will come with some kind of challenges where they should not bias. So to keep them unbiased, they should have some control. Same way, they should not get emotional decisions. They should not get into emotions to control the emotions. Same way, there is a point behind. We call it as an anger point. If somebody hits you behind, you get anger. So you need to keep that cool. So to do all those things, a simple technique is wear a cap, wear a turban, wear a towel, anything. Like if you see the farmers, right? They work so many hours in the field and they never get stressed or tensed or anything because they keep this under control. So this is another simple technique. Anytime you wanted to focus on your work or you need to concentrate or you wanted to calm, relax and do something peaceful, follow this. Very simple. Okay. Next is very psychologically we need to do. When I say fear is nothing but a perceived danger. You feel that I'm in a danger. This place is going to be dangerous, but this is a dangerous disease. All this is all like a perceived danger. You're creating a perception that it is a danger. To counter that, you need to create a perceived safety. Psychologically, you need to go back and say, oh, it's not. It is a perceived safety. You need to show it back. So how to do that is again a simple technique. You ask yourself, how safe are you now? Automatically, only negative things will come. No, this is not safe. Even this place, say example, I will tell this example of our meeting. I will say how confident this meeting power will not go. Suddenly, if I start recollecting, oh, yesterday power went, now the power will go. All those stories will start coming. What happens if power goes? What will I do? So you start building your own story of unsafety, right? Now you ask a question. The question is now, current, present. What is it? Present, you are safe. Power is there. You have a battery backup. You have some UPS. It's all is there, right? But your mind is not allowed to think this safety. So you need to create more of an awareness about the present. That's when you use that grounding technique to say, I'm in my own place, my things are safe, and etc. etc. Right? So you need to create the perceived safety first. So moment you start building your perceived safety, your threat will slowly reduce. The fear is nothing but only a perceived fear, right? So slowly you need to adopt challenging. You need to start challenging to with the safety things. So this obviously is a little bit exercise oriented techniques, but certain people can follow. If they feel more fear every time, they need to start practicing this. Then another one is a stop technique. Um, this is a very wonderful technique. Whenever you feel overthinking or overwhelming with negative thoughts, automatically you need to control it. So how do you control? Obviously, you need to stop it. Don't act on it. Don't react. See, always your mind wants to react. Necessarily, not necessarily that you need to react for everything. You can always respond. So pause. Take a pause. Respond. If some boss is asking you something which you're not done it, don't get panic. Don't get react. No, I did. You did. You gave me late. That's why I could not. Don't give all these things. Okay, fine. I will come back to you. Start looking at the taking a breath. What have we said, right? First, control yourself. First aid. You do yourself. Don't get panic mode. Breathe yourself normal. Then start observing the situation. What is this situation is all about? Is it really a danger, or is it really what is no, the background of this, right? Understand everything, the scenario. Don't go only into the, don't blame individuals, blame the situations. That's a trick we used to say, right? Don't, if you start blaming individuals, then you'll create perceptions. Start blaming situations. Sometimes bus will be late, so obviously you will come late. So instead of saying that no saying that why did you come late, you can always question, why is it the bus late? That's a question will probe. When you probe that kind of a question, the person also will not feel defensive. He'll say, yeah, it is the situation is a problem, not the individual is a problem. Like that, you need to start observing and analyzing the situation to understand whether it is opinion or it is like a fact. All those things you'll get some time to understand. Now, then you start a pullback. When I say pullback, there are many techniques to pull back. Think like a situation where if you want to give an advice to your friend, right? You'll immediately give an advice. You'll not get too detailed into it, right? Because you see the problem in a different perspective. Whereas when it is yours, you start doing so much of results and finally do nothing. So sometimes you need to look it from others' point of view. Sometimes you need to look it from a bird's eye view or a big picture. When there is a fire is happening, If everybody is throwing a water, at least one person should come back and see, oh, is it water is enough or something else is required? Or should we call the fire engine? Or better get everybody to run away because the fire is becoming so dangerous, right? So for that, you need to always take a back seat or a big picture. We call it as a big picture or a helicopter view to look at back. Then this will give different options, alternative thoughts, alternative solutions to handle the situation. So stop is not a very simple one word to just say stop. It is a process, but you'll slowly understand this as a stress management technique because it's every occasion you will get into such scenarios. So if you know these kind of techniques, it's easy to handle scenarios one by one. I know it's all what do you call looking easy in the paper, but it's also easy to implement provided you understand it and start practicing it. Okay. Another important mindset problems we always have is the opinion versus fact. I told right initially when a thought is getting into the feeling is because we start applying some of our opinions or thoughts, opinions or experience or belief into the thought and start dragging it. So we need to learn the technique of challenging your opinions with facts, because fact is the actual evidence to say that the things like example, if you want to buy a mobile, you always look at the features first, like what is the memory, what is the battery size, this and that. Finally, you ask whether Samsung is better or iPhone is better. Some kind of a opinion will come towards the end. But when we get into an emotional decision, immediate thing we always create an opinion. No, this fellow will always come late. Or my boss will be always like this. So we always start putting some kind of an opinion and just going behind it. But when you really look at how many occasions he behaved like this, how many occasions he fired for something you didn't do, how many occasions he appreciated you for doing certain things good, we never look at those facts. So it's important to challenge your thoughts every time when you're going it is out of control. Always look for the fact and opinion challenges. Okay. And another point is on the flooding, because many a time when you are emotionally stressed or like relationship, mostly it happens during the relationship problems, when you're cornered or when you're questioned, you get into the flooding mode. Flooding is a mode where you start, your communication becomes very weak. You do not, because when you are in stress, your logical mind stops, so automatically you do not know the right points to communicate, so you're going into the flooding mode. So in those scenarios, it is always better to pause. When I say pause, take a break. Mutually agree, yes, I will come back. Let's take a break. Take a break, do something calm, quiet, breathing exercise, anything, but give a commitment that we'll open up this topic again. It's not that just you're withdrawing and then escape and going away. Because many a time that's what happens. You stop and then you escape and out. It's not necessarily that you need to get out or escape out. Because you're in a stress, you're not able to think logical. So take a pause with the commitment that we'll open up this discussion again. Do whatever which is calm, quiet, and brings your mind relaxed. Then you come back and start this conversation. It'll be fruitful. So this is called way of stopping the flooding. Okay. These are some of the stress management techniques. Okay. But all the more equally important is healthy lifestyle, because stress is not a psychological or an emotional problem. It is also a health problem. So we need to handle it holistically. So when I say health, health always is defined by the happiness hormones. We all know that we have some 4 different happiness hormones. Certain hormones functions when we are accomplishing some task, rewarding, doing your activity, like dopamine. Serotonin is one which is like a mood stabilizer. Like when somebody appreciates you, you feel good, and you accomplish some task, you feel good. Endorphin is another one where you do exercise, your body will pain, but still you feel I've done something. Oxytocin is more like a touch and feel hormone. Like, so you need somebody to care and touch, hug, and etc. So in a day, everyday life cycle or every day of our lifestyle, we need to generate these hormones through some of our activities. Anything physical, mental, let it be anything, but ensure that we have certain activities in our day-to-day life that is triggering these hormones. If you really look at any psychiatric medicines, they are just triggering this. Their medicines are giving these hormones. So why not we create these hormones ourselves? So for that, there are certain things you need to do can help build your body to handle your stress. Because as I mentioned, stress needs to be handled in a holistic manner, which means you need to prepare your body and mind healthy to handle it when it occurs. One of the key, the routine, a day starts with always an elimination. And why we give so much of importance to elimination is, I think, very simple logic. Like when you have a room and there is a dustbin, it is not cleaned and it is stinking. Do you think that you can do your work peacefully? You may not, right? So all your attentions will be on the smell and you'll be a little disturbed and you feeling uneasy. And same thing happens to your mind when you don't do your elimination or you're constipating. Automatically, your mind will have a lot of negative effects and it aggravates. You may be having a small trigger, and this irritation will aggravate that thought. So it's better uh, have a regular elimination. Equally, when I say 5 sense cleaning, because now you know the importance of 5 sense and how it's going to impact the way you're going to think and how the thoughts going to create. So you need to follow the cleansing of your 5 senses. So it's all normal, regular brushing, face wash, and the cleansing. These are all like, there's a different session and different therapies for it, but I am not going in detail. But in a very simple term, I'm saying that ensure that you do your 5 sense cleansing as a regular routine. Bath and oil bath. I think there is a very significant contributors for your stress management, especially oil bath. That's where I think people go for oil massage and all those things, because that relieves a lot of stress from your mind and body and everything. So it's better to have it as a routine. Like, in our culture, uh, the men are supposed to have a oil bath weekly twice. It's actually Saturday and Wednesday, and women can take on Friday or Tuesday. That's a very normal routine followed in our tradition, but unfortunately we don't do it. I'm asking, at least let's do once in a week. It's simple. Just apply your oil, leave it for half an hour, do a little gentle massage, and take a hot water bath. This helps in a lot of stress relief, helps in balancing your heat in the body, and also improves your hormone balancing. So it's a very good routine. I suggest people to follow. And exercise is everybody will recommend, right? So now you know why exercise is required. You will get a hormone, the happiness hormone, right? Because and I don't want to restrict a certain exercise or certain anything, any physical movement to your body. A minimum 15 minutes to 20 minutes in a day is good enough. I'm not asking that you do 1 hour exercise walk. And your mind will not accept anything immediate. Just start something with 15 minutes, 20 minutes, any type of physical exercise. That's a routine you need to keep. And meditation, now you know the techniques. I'm not asking for a very proper meditation. I'm just saying do something. Like, I always believe this: something is better than nothing. Don't wait for 100% perfection on the day one. It will never happen. Start something, and automatically your body and the mind will accept it, and you'll start appreciating it. And once you feel that sense of achievement, your hormones will induce more the happiness feeling, so that you'll automatically better it over a period of time. So start the meditation. Food is very, 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 very important, and especially when I go through all our traditional systems, be it Ayurveda or Siddha, they talk a lot about the influence of food in your mental health. In fact, taste plays a very key role in your mental health. So it's a big topic. So we're not going in detail, but what I wanted to suggest is have a regular food, because uh, there is somebody who follow time clock to have food, and somebody follows body clock to have a food. The ideal practice is body clock. Whenever you feel hunger, take the food. not necessarily that you need to always follow your time. So it differs from people to people. That's what I say, right? There's no one fit solution for all. So it differs based on the individual's body type. So, and food also matters. I'm not very particular about what kind of food and etc. But it's very important. So the big topic, but I'm just insisting that have a regular routine on your food, have your food on time, especially dinner as much as possible. Have it a little early, give enough time for your digestion, and that helps a lot in good sleep. And obviously, I'm coming to that important point: sleep hygiene. Okay, so if you want a good day, you need to have a very good night hygiene. You need to have a very good night hygiene on the previous day. Then you can expect a very good day. Otherwise, just don't blame that I'm having a bad day and etc. Because if you don't sleep on time and you keep on spending your time on the mobiles and laptops until 12 o'clock, don't expect a very beautiful day the next morning. So it's going to have its own impact. So plan your sleep hygiene. That's very, very important. Similar, there are other routines, the physical, not the physical routine, your activities, your behaviors, your actions also plays a lot of role in managing a stress. One of the key thing is being kind to yourself. When I say being kind to yourself, start loving yourself. Don't do things to satisfy others. Many time it'll backfire, because end of the day, you remember these words, right? When you travel in the flight, they say this word, right? Before taking care of your kid or anybody, please put your oxygen mask first, then you can take care of others. It holds good. Unless you have your healthy body and mind, you cannot take care of others. So always love yourself, appreciate yourself, uh, and take care of your body and mind. That's important. Obviously, the relaxing comes as one of the important aspect. You remember, like I was mentioning, the difference between sleep and relaxing. So it's not that everybody needs an 8 hours of sleep. People working like white collar jobs, right? You're not doing a labor job. A labor who's spending his physical efforts, he needs a solid 8 hours of sleep. But people who are spending most of your time using your brain, you may need a combination of rest, relax, and then a sleep. So spend your time to relax your mind and body. There are various things to do, and the important thing, take things as it is. When I say as it is, accept the reality. So it's like, Buddha's words, right? Accept the pain. Sometimes the pain is required to experience the next stage of pleasure. So take things as it is. Don't try to challenge too many things, and don't get into too much of research, because many a time we notice this. There is nothing called as a right decision or wrong decision in life. It's about your point of view. It's about the way you did your due diligence. Just move ahead. It's important to take a decision when it is required. Like, so the many a time people get this, they're stuck. Should I go left side? Should I go right side? And keep on discussing, and finally you don't move anywhere. Just move ahead. If you feel the left side is good, take the call, go ahead. And if you find somewhere you're stuck, you come back, and obviously the right side is the right way, right? So nobody can take a right decision. So just go and take the things as it is and have fun. I think it doesn't need to be explained. Everybody has their what do you call uh, a fun part in their heart, which we don't experience. It needs a trigger. So sometimes you outburst, you have your fun, and you will not know how much of stress is relieved, right? So use the opportunities wherever possible, have some fun, enjoy with people, spend your time. And very important is helping people, because gratitude is the biggest hormone booster, happiness hormone booster. Like certain people, you remember, like they feel happy when they give things to others. You give them, especially if you see in the family, mothers, elders, you give them any gift, they don't feel happy. They give something, they make a food, or they cook food for 5 6 hours, they prepare all the food and they give it to somebody, and somebody says, I liked it, appreciated, they feel so much of happy, right? So same way, helping others, gives a lot of gratitude. So do that. That is again another bigger stress busters. Always see the big picture. Okay, so today the pandemic and other things start putting you into small room and feel that oh, world is it's going to end. Things are not moving. Things are not happening. All those things, but it is only a short term. When you look at from a bird's eye point of view, the world is big. 80% things are good. Only 20% is having some challenge. But obviously, because we are only focused and pushed or cornered or exposed only to the 20%, we feel that is a world. It's not. There are remaining 80% is things to explore. I think we have not even explored the remaining 80%. So you have very big potential to look at the remaining things only when you have the view of big picture. And obviously, stress is an emotion that can trigger and get you into habits. So I'm not going in detail, but beware of this. And the habits can be anything. It's not always drinking or smoking is dangerous. Mobile is dangerous than this stuff. TVs. Sometimes addictions nowadays are many things. Anything can be an addiction. It means your mind is getting into some kind of a auto suggestion to its comfort zone. So if it feels this is the only thing which is going to give me happiness, then you are addicted. It can be anything. So beware of those habits which is putting you into some kind of a routine, and it's not a good routine. Take up hobbies, because that's the biggest solution. Like, that's a good solution for stress busting. Any hobbies, it can be drawing, having a pet, gardening, reading books, teaching somebody, temple, going to temple, prayers. There is nothing is saying that this is a hobby, this is not the hobby. Anything you do where you feel satisfied, you feel a sense of accomplishment, that's your hobby. So take up those kind of a passions and go behind it. And very importantly, connecting to friends. Or I'm not even using the word friends, because when you say friend, we always have a prejudgment. So, no, he's my friend, he's not there, what will I do? He's staying somewhere abroad, what will I do? No, I'm saying connect to another human being whenever you get an opportunity. Simple example, like, I work from home for 7 8 years and I don't have a connect with my office colleagues. Initially I also started blaming, no, I don't have time to spend. But later I realized, no, the friendship or connect doesn't mean that we need a same wavelength of people or same age group of people or same educational background. No, not necessarily. You need another human being where you can go and share something. He starts sharing something, and in the process, no, you build something, a relationship, and you feel, both of you feel something. You relaxed. You downloaded something to him. He downloaded something to you, so you feel relaxed. So I have friends at my market where an onion vendor is my friend. 5 10 minutes I spend with him. Whenever I go weekly, wants to buy something, I spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes with him. So that's the way you can start connecting. So I mean, connecting with others. I'm not even defining who should be. You know who is good for you, right? And finally, ask for help. It's not that everything we can solve ourselves. It's not, we are not a magician to solve all the problems. We need help. Take an example when you physically get injured, like you are on bed rest. So for 1 or 2 months, you cannot do your daily things on your own. You still need somebody to take you to a toilet, take you to sometime even to feed you. So like that, certain times emotional disturbance also needs a helping hand. It could be a family member or a friend, or sometimes you have to take a professional help like counseling or psychologist, whatever it is, or even sometimes medicine also will be required. So ask for help when it is required. Okay, so I'm coming to a last point. When you say help, uh, where do you need help? Okay, uh, typically the way I looked in from my experience of handling people, there are three sets of people. Uh, they come for certain help. One, somebody do not even know what is their problem. Some people, they know their problem, but they do not know what is the right solution. Third is they know their problem, They know their solution, but they fail in execution, right? So this is where the help comes in, because when they say problem, actually they do not understand what is the root cause of the problem. They start working on the symptom and the entire chain collapse. Solution perspective, they may identify the problem, but solution today, you have 100 things to do. For one problem, you can solve it in 10 different methods, like the mathematics. One problem, you can solve it in 10 different ways. Okay, but you need to know which is the right way, right? Unfortunately, most of us get stuck into this. There are hundreds of solutions available, and we might be going behind a solution. We say it worked for my friend, so it should work for me. So it goes back to my first disclaimer slide. Everybody is unique. So there's no one fit solution for all. And obviously execution, again, the same point. We try something, 2 days, 3 days, it works. After that, it fails. Then we say it is not working for me, give it up. Again, you go back to another solution, try 2, 3 days, it works. And we don't continue it, because everything, the body needs time to adjust. It takes 7 days to accept the change. It takes 21 days to make it as a habit. It takes 48 days to bring it as your character or attitude. So that's the time it takes. Anything you do, it needs that much of time to accept it. So we need to give that much of a time to make any change. So literally the body will not take, or the mind will not take any change just like that. It needs to know the answers for all its questions. Primarily, what is this change? Why I'm doing this? By doing this, what are the benefit I'm going to get? Because that's a very key answer it will look for. What is the change? Why are this change? When are you going to do? Who all be involved? And ultimately, it needs to know the answer why this change is required. Like simple example, you may say that tomorrow morning I want to wake up at 6 o'clock. 2 days you can wake up. Third day you'll start, no, it's paining. I'm feeling tired. So let me ignore. And third day, fourth day, fifth day, you'll drop it. Instead, you need to tune your mind and keep repeating in your mind to say that tomorrow I want to wake up at 6 o'clock so that I will do yoga, and by doing yoga I can reduce my weight. So I'm just saying, so it needs to know the purpose. Why are you getting up at 6 o'clock? What are you going to do? By doing this, what are the benefit you're going to get? So until you give this big picture to your mind, it will not accept any change. So it's a big what do you call coaching you need to do to your mind to make the change to work. So, but many a time we just try 2, 3 times and then we ignore and say it is not working. Okay, so these are some of the inputs for you to start practicing some of these changes, because I've given you the solutions. You may come back and say, no, I tried for 2 days, it didn't work, because you have to feed it right. You have to uh, what do you call, you have to keep repeating it in your mind to say that this is how, why this is how I'm doing this, these are the benefits I'm going to get. Okay, and finally, just to end up, again I'm repeating what is our centers. Both of our centers are getting are rather into counseling and pain managements. You can reach us. These are the contacts I'll be sharing along with the communication back to whoever is registered. So you'll get to know all the details, and some of the resources also will be sharing it to you, uh, like on some of the videos from my Varmam teacher, Mr. Ramesh Babu. He has given a lot of solutions on how to take care of insomnia, and yoga practitioners. There are a lot of small Varmam solution that can solve big problems. Okay, and there are a lot of articles that you can look at. Finally, and thanking everyone. So this is a I hope this session was useful to you guys. And if you have any questions or uh, doubts, you can always feel free to reach us. The emails and contacts and website details are available. You're welcome to clarify your doubts anytime. Thank you.